Here are my thoughts after 4 months of using the Aqara Fp2 presence sensor. If you didn't see it in my last video, this is a sensor that goes with your smart home and it uses radar to track exactly where you are in a room. So you'll see here, I'm in my office and the sensor is able to track me as I walk about the room very precisely. What you could then do is segment different parts of the room to trigger a whole bunch of different types of automation. For example, my workbench light. Once I approach my workbench, the sensor will detect I'm in this area and automatically turn on my workbench light. And if I walk away from it, it'll turn it off. And same with the whole room. You'll see here when I leave my office and step out, all of the lights are going to automatically turn off. So since then, I've actually set up these sensors throughout my whole house. You'll see I have one here. This one's actually covering the dining room, kitchen, and living room with just one sensor. This is by far one of my favorite things about these sensors is even though they're a little bit more expensive at about $70 a piece, you could use one to have multiple room coverage. You'll see here as I walk throughout the living room, it's going to track me as I move around it. It's going to track me going into the dining room here and even backing out into the kitchen. There's a whole bunch of ways I utilize these sensors, but this is the main one. Check this out. When I walk into my living room every morning, what's going to happen is all the lights are going to turn on, my blinds are going to open, and the fireplace is going to turn on. This is just using a trigger in my smart home, using my smart blinds and my smart thermostat. And check this out. Dining room, as soon as I walk in the dining room, the light's going to turn on and the blinds are going to open. That all just happens automatically as you walk throughout the rooms. But the very, very best part of having these throughout my house, check this out. As I walk into the living room, the lights follow me. So the living room lights turn on, and then check this out. When I walk into the dining room, the living room lights are gonna shut off, and the dining room lights turn on. And then when I walk into the kitchen, the dining room lights are gonna turn off, and the living room lights, or the kitchen lights, are gonna turn on. The light literally follows you around the house. And never mind the power savings, it's just so cool to walk around the house and seamlessly have the lights only be on in the room you're in without having to do anything. You just cross the line here, and then the living room lights turn on. And you cross the line here, and the dining room lights turn on. Anyway, absolutely love these things, can't recommend them enough, but a few things to address before you do purchase one of these. First off is in certain situations, if you're dealing with more than one person in the house, they can be kind of glitchy. The one in my living room does not cause many problems at all, but this one in my office here, because it's pointing directly at the door, if I'm sitting at my desk and my girlfriend walks in the door and the sensor is kind of looking at us stacked across each other, sometimes it has trouble telling two separate people. My girlfriend will leave the room and it'll think both people have left the room and the lights will turn off. Very little thing, it only happens about 10% of the time, but I do want to acknowledge that. Other than that, the sensor does handle multiple people totally fine. It could detect one person in the kitchen, one person in the living room, and I believe it works up to 5 people. The other thing is people have mentioned the negative reviews on this thing. Honestly, I've had nothing but positive experiences, but I do believe that these negative reviews are coming from people not going through the setup process properly. Normally, smart home devices are pretty plug and play, but just due to the complexity and nature of this thing, there's a pretty significant setup process between properly tracing out your entire rooms, setting the sensitivity of the sensor. If you have pets, for example, you can really finitely adjust the sensitivity so it doesn't detect pets or it does detect pets. There's a whole bunch of different settings that you have to dial in for this thing to work properly. You just can't plug and play it because there's so much context that this thing is going to be missing from how you're segmenting your rooms, how your rooms are laid out, all of these different things. If you set it up properly, this thing is absolutely rock solid, and I believe the negative reviews are all from people that haven't done that. And lastly is the price. This thing is a little bit more pricey. It is $70 right now, down from its regular $82. The only rebuttal I have to that is one, this thing adds functionality that no other device will to your smart home. This thing is night and day compared to motion sensors, where it's just binary motion detected or not. The amount of functionality you get out of this thing is crazy. And two, is this thing has a lot more coverage and usability and versatility than one of those other sensors. Like I showed you in my living room, I have one of these covering 3 separate rooms in my house where normally I'd have to purchase 3 separate sensors. This thing also has a light sensor and it is just so easy to set up. Even though this thing is expensive, I can almost promise the functionality you're going to get out of it will be very worth it. And lastly, one of the big selling points for this thing for me is its compatibility with Apple HomeKit and how seamless it is. All you have to do is segment those different rooms in the Aqara app, and then they just seamlessly show up as sensors in Apple HomeKit. So all the automations I showed you where I was walking into the room and the lights turning on and off, that's all happening natively in Apple HomeKit without any interaction with the Aqara app. The integration is so seamless. You should buy one of these things. I'll have them linked in my bio. Huge fan of these. Not sponsored. I just absolutely love them. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.